Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and fail. I'm your host Johnny and I hope you are having a lovely Friday. It's been a long week but a fun week for me, and today we're gonna be doing some cool coding. We're gonna be using ChatGPT, GPT even, all the rage, not ChatGPT 4 which has just been released, but ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, which is really good still. And if we do a great work, maybe we'll get invited. I have joined the waitlist for GPT-4, but they want you to be contributing some stuff to give you early access. So maybe today we'll crack it, and we'll be using it to create some generative AI content. We'll be continuing with this app we started remaking last week, which is called the Emoji of the Day. Every day, every week, every month, it's supposed to be picking one new emoji, and then it's gonna be giving you inspiration to make a photo, make a video, live your life according to the emoji of the day. So as it stands, now this reminds me of Back to the Future, so I would be inspired to do a Back to the Future type of photo. As it stands, it makes a new pic every time I refresh the page. We've scraped the official Unicode list of emojis, and we've persisted all of those emojis in a Supabase database. I've done that offline over the week, and we may be doing a bit more of Supabase database admin stuff today as well. But the fun thing we'll be trying to do today is adding a little comment or trying to say that this video game character or this fantasy fiction character or whoever, what do they have to say about this emoji? What would they be saying? When would be the last time that they've used the man golfing emoji or whatever? What would Shepard send using that emoji? Garrus, Tali, like non-Mass Effect characters, I don't know, someone from Final Fantasy Cloud, whoever else. Let me know your favorite fantasy characters and we may use them later in the day. So the idea is generative AI content has been all the rage for art, images, text. Everyone's doing it. We're doing it as well. And I think when you have dynamic random content, it's a great time to use it, because I'm not going to be writing a fun message for every character I want to use, for every pic of every day, for every emoji that exists. That's too much work for a human, but little work for an AI. So we'll be using OpenAI's tool, GPT 3.5 version, to do something cool today. My voice is better than last week, but I did complete my grill. I've put my top bracket of bracers, so excuse me if I still sound weird and not my usual self. Last week I put my bottom set, and it took me about 3-4 days to be able to, gulp and eat food and talk normally. And today it's been going much better already, one day from putting the top set. But clearly whenever I say ash, so scraping service is a tough thing to create today. Still will be going through it. And hopefully by next week I'll be able to speak like I usually do. Not that there is anything wrong with having a lisp, but I like having my own voice that I've had for like 37 years, and less of a chance for me to hook myself with the wires of the braces. Anyway, that's by the by. Other great personal news is that I adopted a puppy. We adopted a puppy with my fiance, and if you want to have a sneak peek as well, and if you want to know why the stream was a bit late, it's because of this lady here. Her name is Summer and she's cute as a button. That's the response that I usually get when I talk about Svelte and TypeScript and testing in production and that sort of thing. Everyone has the same response. But she's cute. She's cute and in real life, I promise. And that's about enough. For the personal stuff, unless you want to ask, let me know in the comments. Who are your favorite fantasy characters, fiction characters, video game characters? We may use them today, but let's get to it and let's get to coding. So this is the app that is already deployed, will be deploying later today as well. and we have VS Code running here and a local version of this same app as well. What we want to do is bring in the OpenAI library from npm and start using it and hope for the best. I do have the link here, and the link is also in the description, so if you want to follow along, or if you see something and want to find out exactly where I got the information from, is from the links in the description. What we want to do is go to our terminal, reminds the OpenAI dev dependency, because in SvelteKit we love putting everything as dev dependencies, and then immediately it's one of those sites where they put the dollar here for because it looks nicer, I guess, and because when you use a terminal you may have like a dollar or something at the start of your terminal, but when you copy it and it copies the dollar as well or whatever symbol, then it makes it not work, and I'm like, what's going on? What is wrong? But nothing's wrong, it's just I just had the extra character, so we didn't get stuck right at the first place. And now we've already have the library, and it seems we need to create a new OpenAI client based on the configuration and using the OpenAI API key. I did create one for this stream. If I do manage to leak it at some point, just know that I keep deleting them if it looks like I've used them already. But be nice, everybody has been cool so far, even though I'm sure I must have leaked some keys at some point. So the idea is, when we get the emoji, to get a message as well. Let's try to like mock this app, what I'm talking about. So we have this character and we have the name, and then we have something like maybe a quote, maybe a block quote, and then block quote. Tailwind has inspiration for block quotes. Tailwind UI has something there. We're getting off track already. Block quote. Where would it be? Like testimonial? Something that looks nice, like somebody said something about this emoji. This one? Yeah. So this would be blah 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 about this emoji. Garrus from Mass Effect. And then you get sued by EA. Footnote. So what's the code here? Too much code? Maybe. I guess what I wanted is the quote for now. For a little mockup, let's say block quote here. Oh, interesting. The figure has both the block code and the caption. I kind of love it. Like backend, OpenAI, machine learning, and all the good stuff. We'll have some database work. What are we starting with? CSS and Tailwind CSS. Love it. Love it. What is carousels? What is carousel? Aspect role. Spectre. Squad mate. All right, so hopefully we know what we're getting at here. Text, what does that tell me? CSS. Text helpers. Font size. Text base, normal. Alright, so the leading makes it a bit more spacious, a bit nicer. Alright, so we've styled this, and I want to say, alright, today's emoji is fountain, and Garus has this to say about this emoji. We'll use OpenAI to get there. And for that, this svelte page, this svelte round, has a corresponding page server.ts, which loads the emoji of the day, for example. Loads a random emoji every time. And maybe we want to supercharge that emoji with comments, or maybe let's say highlight quote. Let's call it quote. Copy. And then the author. And return this quote. page, and that should have the code there, so we can use it. Let's say our data, quote, copy this. Instead of cows here, we have quote, author name. And the role here is title. Let's add the emoji there in the end. So that's the idea here. But instead of us hard-coding some text, we'll be telling ChatGPT to give us a code based, or a text message, or whatever we're going to call it, based on the emoji we've picked, and pretend that you are Garus from Mass Effect. If you want different people, let me know. Morgana from Persona 5 as well is a good one, I think. So, here, all of this maybe we can put into our own module. So much like I have like a source lib server Supabase service client, which is only to be used on the server and by the cron jobs because it has special rights. It has special access and can do everything admin style in the database. I'm gonna create an OpenAI client here, I guess. SvelteKit Magic means that everything in this folder by default will only be available on the server, so it's another guarantee you won't be exposing your API keys to the client and then they use your tokens. It starts up stuff. So this is the file when we want to do this. My autocomplete, you may remember from last week, hasn't been working, but GitHub Copilot kind of works. Hey, Fanny, nice to see you this week as well. GitHub Copilot has been working. In SvelteKit, we can import these from static private environment variables. I have a .env file where I've defined all of these, and in the repo I have a .env.example file where you can see what stuff you should be creating in case you want to check out the project and try this out for yourself. So I have a real value here from the OpenAI dashboard. This is a local Supabase instance, so these keys and tokens are fine to leak if needed, because you'll never have my local instance. So for Supabase, you'll be spinning up your own. But in any case, fill in this. If this exists on your .env file, not .env.example, you have to create your .env. Then SvelteKit is smart enough or magic enough to understand that this exists and it will autocomplete it for you. So let's export OpenAI. They like the lowercase for some reason. And the examples seem to call it OpenAI, so let's just call it like this. And that may be it. And now that we have this, we can create a completion, or a chat completion really. Ever since they've released the GPT 3.5 Turbo, which we're going to use today, they do suggest using that model, even if you want to do like a regular completion or even translation, because it is better than the models that they have dedicated to completions and cheaper, so why not use that one? So that's exactly what we're gonna do. It's gonna look something like this, I suspect. Let's see, I hope this has TypeScript types. So on our server, we want to say that bring in the OpenAI client that we created, then await a response, create a third completion, great, and then the engine is gonna be ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. Is it engine or is it model? So that's quite interesting that GitHub Copilot led me down the wrong path here. And then we want to give it some messages. And they do say that if you want to save on money, maybe the system message that you can start with, you don't need to add it. It doesn't help that much. But hey, we'll see. Your cows from Mass Effect. And then we want to pretend that the user is saying what's your last text message, which had the ghost emoji, I guess in this case. And then the response should have Garros replying that, oh, it was this. And to that I say, great. So what do we get back? We get choices back. I do think we'll be able to find something better here. Choices. So I guess we may have a few. I think there should be like something we can pass there as configuration to say only give me the best response or something. So n defaults 1, they will only give us 1, it says. Max tokens if you want to ensure that your users will not bankrupt you. And if the user is logged in, you can even include its ID, or you can give them like sneakily a cookie, an anonymous cookie or something, where you can identify if someone is being naughty, but we'll talk about this as the stream continues. Yeah, so I guess our response here let's call this fallback code. So if things fail, we can fall back to this quote. Can have another character that has a famous quote about things going wrong. Who knows? And say that if the response has data, So it claims it's returning this, which has ID object created model choices. Yeah, great. So where is it nested? We'll see. But if not, then we go to the fallback code. It should have a choices, right? Yeah, sometimes it has choices. Maybe we can extract it like this. Is that even JavaScript? Looks like it. And if we have a choice, then yes, Sophie, you got it. Let's go. Then methods. I guess I might as well sanity check. Here. All right, I haven't saved for a while because every time I do, this costs me like 10 pence or something because we're calling this. If I've put the API key correct, of course, and we've created everything correctly. So I will sip dramatically some coffee and drum roll and see if we actually get our first OpenAI ChatGPT Turbo response. We are using TypeScript, so how could we not? All right, it seems we have fallen back to the... no, Prettier didn't work, so I may have messed something else up, actually. Oh no, I just didn't save. Internal error. Okay. Okay. It seems we got there, but I messed things up, didn't I? Somewhere else. I think this is looking promising. So thanks for the drum roll. We'll need it again. It's a bit more brave than I should have been. So we said that it should be an object here, didn't we? We want this to have this shape. Like if I had defined some TypeScript types, then we wouldn't be in this situation here. So now it will work. Maybe? Yeah. Carol says object. It's content. Come on. Come on. Too much nesting happening in this API. We got it. So what do you have to say about the Saint Vincent Grenadine flank? So Gareth says, I'm sorry, but as a character from Mass Effect, I do not have a personal phone or use emojis. Fair enough. However, if I were to use an emoji, it would probably be something related to my work as a Turian soldier, or my friendship with Shepard, my bro or lover, according to how you play it, such as or handshake. Nice. So that's what Garus has to say. Can we make this more interesting? Yeah, I think Garus is fun. So Morgana, also from Persona Royal, doesn't directly use the phone, but she will know emojis. So, and from Persona 5. Is it Royal or Golden? I always get these. And I like the auto-completion of hearts as well. Alright, what does Anne have to say? So this is less interesting. As an AI language model, I don't have a personal phone or the ability to access real-time personal messages as a character, and doesn't disclose her personal messages either. Sure, but I was talking about the group chat as well. Let's give it another chance with a suggestion from Ofini, Joker from Batman. Not from Persona. And let's see, what do you think about let's see. So Joker, the famous Batman villain. What does he have to say about you? The problem with emojis as well is that there are so many flags, which is interesting, of course, because you can get commentary about a real country. However, when most of them are gonna be flags, maybe it's not that interesting. So Joker says, as an infamous villain, I don't really engage with emojis. I'm not Mark Hamill, especially with my braces, so apologies. But if I had to share my thoughts, I would say that the new flag emoji doesn't really have any significance to me. It's just a flag representing a country. And we live in a society. However, I do find it interesting how technology has given us the ability to communicate through these symbols and how they have become a part of our daily conversations. Of course, Joker is like half insane, half genius, so he has some good things to say about that. Cool. What do we know? Let's do another Mass Effect one then. Astali, seeing the emoji of the man climber, could inspire me as it symbolizes the act of climbing, adventure, and taking on challenges. It reminds me of the many obstacles and challenges my team and I face throughout our missions, and the importance of being able to climb, to reach inaccessible locations, or to escape danger. I don't think you can climb in Mass Effect. You can leap, vault through cover in some of them. But, you know, metaphorically, you climb through a lot of obstacles for sure. And there are ladders, I'm sure. This emoji could also remind me of the importance of teamwork and trust, as climbing and adventuring can be dangerous and require cooperation with others to ensure everyone's safety, Tal said, beeping from within her fancy suit. So, yeah, Mass Effect responses for the win, for sure. And that's something I was thinking about, that I can try a few different characters today and offline, and then have a choice of the ones that seem to work best with prompts like this, emoji prompts like this, and then start going with those. But just to recap what we've done, if it feels like we're just fooling around here, it is because it is that easy. ChatGPT is an awesome thing that is still maturing, and if you have any interest in tech, I do suggest get on with it. Like, create your own silly little app and see how you can play with it. And you may be inspired yourself to create something new, and you learn something. It's as simple as importing a library, creating an account in OpenAI, and then running this method, I suppose. You can give it this role as we had, which sets the context really, so we're telling them you are this person, and then a prompt like, how would this emoji inspire you, or something like that. Another suggested use case has been recently for localization internalization, which we've done in a recent stream as well, where you can insert here the text in English, for example, or the default language that you want to translate to Greek or Spanish or whatever else, where you don't have an official translation. You can ask ChatGPT to translate it for it. So you can say here, you are an assistant that can helpfully translate this to this, and then your chat message would be, please translate this to French or whichever language you want. And then the response would be the translation, and you can use this on your site, which is quite cool. So yeah, that's all you need. SvelteKit-wise, we have created the OpenAI client. We've configured it inside the source lib server directory with safeguards against you leaking, or us leaking, I guess, this key, exposing it to the client. Only the server can see this, so no one visiting your site is able to get this key and then do requests to OpenAI on your behalf. That's, I guess, a thing that could stop you from playing around with this too much. This does cost money, but you should get a few free tokens, I believe, even today. And try to make something cool, because you can actually try ChatGPT for free here. So if you just want like a regular chat experience with a newfangled AI, you can just go there. For your own app, you must create a different context to make your users be interested in actually going to your site instead of here. Of course, maybe you'll get a crowd that doesn't know about this link, and they go to your app. You text your friend, they're like, oh, chat with this person. I don't know. Like, do anything. I'm sure it will be cool. And of course, as always, this is not sponsored by anybody. This is just fun between us. Cool. So what have we done so far? We've used this, explaining how to do it with SvelteKit. We've started with a few different characters. And speaking of money, I think the next bit would be to save this response. So at the moment, every time I save, which kind of represents every time a person would be hitting this site, would be creating a new completion there. So if this gets famous, and a million people visit this site, I go bankrupt. I do have a hard quota on my account, so it won't be that much money. But still, the site would crash, and you don't want that. So a good way to use OpenAI, I think, is to actually persist some results to your own database. And then check. If you already have a generation that you like, or any generation really, you can get it from your database for free instead of paying ChatGPT as well. And of course, that will be faster because that API request should, like 99.999%, be slower than reading a record from your own database. So I think that's what we'll be trying to do next. But to do that, we need to persist whichever pick we have here. So as I mentioned, as you've noticed, every time I refresh, it does pick a different emoji. So we want to make an endpoint, or amend the pick endpoint we created last week, to actually persist the pick for the day. So for the same day, you'll always be getting the cross mark or whichever happens to be then. And maybe when the pick happens, we also ask ChatGPT to do a completion as a random character. That I think would be the next step for the stream now. And then, like the extra feature at the future would be, alright, you have the highlighted random code, and you have a few icons maybe that, oh, you can also ask as a Joker, or Separate, or Garrus, Rex, whoever, an Assassin's Creed character. Maybe it's all from Last of Us, since the series finished recently. That's been super popular. Someone from House of Dragon, something like that. You can have like little avatars at the end of the page, and only if the user clicks, only then you create a request to ChatGPT to create a comment, a quote like them. And when you do, you persist to your database, so if another user clicks, you don't have to pay again. That's my thinking. That's my thinking. And to do that, we need to create a new Supabase table, and we haven't done that on stream in quite a while, and we haven't done it with a local Supabase database ever. I've only done it offline recently, new feature, and I just need to find the actual is here. All right. So, API design here. We have this table of emojis. We scrape the Unicode page. We managed to do that. And we have every emoji that exists up to version 15 or whichever we are in now, which is great. But then we want to have a table where we persist a pick for maybe the day. And there are a few ways to go about it, as it happens in software engineering. We can have separate tables and have like a daily picks table, weekly picks table, and monthly picks table, because I do want to have like 3 of them. Or we can just have a picks table for everything, and each pick has a type, like a daily pick, or a monthly pick, or a weekly pick. Having it on the one table may make it easier to do some aggregations, because then you can more easily aggregate and see how much a particular emoji has happened to be selected. Given that there are like, how many emojis do you think there are at the moment? Officially, there are 1874 emojis, which is quite a lot. So doing stats on how often they appear may be fun. Quite a big sample size there, if it keeps going like Wordle for a few years. But yeah, I'm just rambling as I'm trying to think, do I have just a single picks table? Maybe that's the way to go. And I would also eventually want to introduce a characters table where we have stored the prompts. The characters just seem to work well together with our model. And I will also explicitly not comment this out just for the extra fun of the stream, of every time I save, I have to pay money. So let's try to make it with a fewest saves possible. Like high stakes coding is what we're doing here. And yeah, that total emoji count number is insanely high. We've gotten there. We started with like, you know, colon parentheses and nasty art, I guess, and now we have 1800 emojis. Great, I love them. Picture is worth 1,000 words after all. Right, so have the tables. I am leaning towards a new table called Pics. And mod speaks for a particular date, let's say. And let's have it have an ID column, of course, which defaults to an integer, but why not unique ID? Let's have a created ad, why not? Let's have an emoji to link to. So foreign key, this should be a foreign key. Oh, interesting. Emoji code. Can pick your own name. Not nullable, have to have it. And is that enough? Maybe yes. We'll find out. Say row level security. New policy, get started quickly, and say that everyone can read from this table. And what we want is this API pick endpoint that our cron job hits. We want it, instead of picking a random emoji. Oh no, maybe we do want to pick a random emoji, but first we want to check whether a pick already exists for a particular day. Does a pick exist for a particular day? How do we do that? It will have to do with the created app, timestamp. So let's see. The Supabase reference. Do they have like an example of between dates? If not. They do have a filters here, but do have a greater at, less than. Okay, so maybe Postgres date then 24 hours. In specific day. Live Googling. Okay, that may work. Oh, but this says that we may want to cast our column something, which we may not be able to do with Supabase. Well, you can do everything with Supabase and remote procedures. We can create our own function that does this, but I'm thinking that the timestamp should be like before then or after then, no? For a specific date, it should be from then to then. Like today's the 17th. If it's like 17th of March 2023 up to 00, like midnight, up to 23:59:59, I would want to get that pick back. Let's check our pick endpoint as well. So this is the pick endpoint. Every time we get here, we get a different pick. This costs no money, which is great. For me, maybe not for you, less fun. And what we want to do is to check, is there an emoji with a date from there? Postgres. Date greater than yesterday. Maybe Supabase has something to tell me about dates. It's also something that could help. Date. Nothing. So they also have an AI chatbot thing. And hey, it's doing something. Great. Let's ask this Supabase chatbot that may be using ChatGPT behind the scenes as well. It is powered by OpenAI, so it actually is. Yeah, that's pretty fun. So yeah, the suggestion to create a Postgres function and do a remote procedural call that does all of this is good, but I'll definitely not be able to do it live. I'll say definitely, but hey. Let's see. Let's have this endpoint also return date. Do we have this on the backend? This is what I want to check. The answer is yes. Date format to. Also, if you hear noise in the background, my cute puppy may be misbehaving, and my even cuter fiance may be trying to correct her happily and lovingly. She's amazing at sit, and we're working on stay as well. Vamos as well to go when she's snuffing too much, like muffling on the pavement. We say vamos, and summer is running with us once again. Anyway, bit of an aside. Let me do, I can feel my bumbling, so I will set up my noodle timer once again for 25 minutes just to get a pick me up. Of course, with ISO string. TDDing would be good, by the way, for this problem, but I think we're stumbling into a solution here. Alright, so this is today's date somehow, and I want to check at the start of this pick method select. So let's put this ISO date here and see if this does anything. I'll try to explain it as we go along, what I'm trying to do here. So I'm saying from the picks table, select everything for now, so long as the created at is at least greater or equal than today and less than equal to today, which I guess would make it be equal to today. I will see if that works afterwards. We'll see. And then that's a maybe single. And if there's an error, I guess, look for an error. Could not check pick results. But then why not return pick result? That do the same thing that we do here. It's today's pick result. So this should have nothing changes because we never hit that table. But if we haven't returned, we do all of this extra craziness where we read from the database for all the emojis and we pick a random emoji. And then we return that emoji. But what we actually want to do is, once we have a random code, to from the pics table. We want to insert just one record. We want the code to be random code, and I guess that's it. And then again, we want to say could not persist pic not. All right. I see this spinning when I hit save, so I do think the stakes are still high. Every time I save, I do pay more money. Everything refreshes because SvelteKit loves to do this. That's what I expect. That's great. But let's refresh this page. Great. Could not persist this. So let's put this. Should have the message added on. Error. Error. Column code of relation peaks does not exist. Of course, because it should be emoji code. This is really a random code. This can't be null, surely. It is this. Let's look at the table again. Undefined. Let's look at our database. We have a pics and we have emoji underscore code, which looks correct. So I'm trying to insert here. Of course, the problem is, I always forget this, that this, you should go to the drop-down of suggested expressions, and if you have a unique ID here, then if you don't provide an ID, it will generate a before ID for you, which I think should be the default, not have an integer here. So I think that's the only problem we had. Let's try again. Yeah. Refresh here. Great, we have a pic. Do we have a pic every time we hit that page? Answer is yes. So that's what we need to stop, I suppose. This is never true. Equal. Yeah, we keep adding these. So how do we cast these as timestamps? I guess we could make these not be ISO dates. How do you run some SQL here? Let's have a look. I guess they have the SQL through here. This is a timestamp. this. Right, we don't want an end. So my question is, if I just run this, then everything appears, which is great, right? This has results, clearly. If I had less than this, no results. Less than equal, no results. Oh, why not? Interesting. Right, so this doesn't work. How do I cast this to date? Date time. Some hot SQL action here. Our favorite. So it's saying that this should cast it to date. Great. So if we pretend that go to the table editor and just delete everything, and we do one pick, and we say that this was yesterday, or whenever, really. Then do another. We have two picks, and then we go to the SQL editor. Oh no, I didn't remember my query. It used to have a history, didn't it? Oh well. Which month is this? Is that what we have? Okay. Alright, so it only shows today's pick. Great. Can I do this syntax in this? So can I add this casting in the Supabase client? The answer is no. So I can't cast this to date, can I? And if I don't cast this to date, oh, it still works. Okay. Awesome. So I guess this may mean if I delete everything and I hit this page once, chesspawn, we get a chesspawn pick here, and hopefully when we refresh, do we get another pick? My, I thought we had it. Thought we had it, gang. So this returns nothing. Yeah, it looks like nothing is equal to this. Is it because this table is just wrong? Yes. Interesting. Now date may work. Let me delete everything but this. I guess in the future we'll want to see previous dates, previous selections, but for now it may be fine. But my question was different. Yeah, I think just to protect against SQL injection or something, it doesn't allow you to put whatever as this value here. I think, what it looks like. But the SQL looked like it. So from picks, where created at date equals date have one of those. Great. I did it again. I apologize. But there must be a raw SQL thing, surely. Now that I think about it. Raw. No? Guess not. Alright, in order to unblock us, we need to do something clever. Perfection is the enemy of good, or whatever they say. So not a timestamp. date. There's a column for this. Come on, come on. Oh, Tony. So now that is a date column, it should work, right? Just by putting our ISO date here. Is it all we needed? It looks like it's gonna work. So now we're getting this, and we keep getting the same one. We got it. All right, so for this date, we'll never have more than one. Let's say that this was yesterday, so it's time travel. Now, we've got another one. Cool. So we are stuck to this one. Great, we've managed the picks. We're not done. Now that we have the pick. Now that we have the pick. Now that we have the pick, what do we actually do? Don't really know. Let's have it return the same thing in any case. And to log everything. So it's either this. Let's check this table as well. And can we say that this is unique? Too late? Can you not have unique date columns? What's this about? Oh, well. Great is the enemy of good. Good is the enemy of decent. So let's keep going along. Let's keep moving along. We are managed to make a pick here. And when we return today's pick result, it looks like this. And this existing pick result. And then I think we want this to return data, which I believe does happen if you just do select. So we don't need another read here, another error. All right, so every time we hit the pick endpoint, we see the latest pick for the day. Awesome. How does it tie back into our page here? Well, now, instead of fetching from our endpoint, my own endpoint, I guess we can have an API where people from all around the world can use our API and get their emoji pics from there. But that's something for the future. We can directly use our Supabase client, which we've put in the locals. And let me generate some TypeScript types as well. It will help us. The auto-completion is quite cool. But how do we actually do joins in Supabase? I have an example. References countries. Okay, so it should be, I think, select. What do we want to select? I'll do it here. Created that, and then from emojis we want the code, character, and the name. And some maybe single, I believe. With this, there's no result error. What else? So it doesn't know that this should be unique, I guess. Does this never have error? So this is the pick. We don't do this. Maybe we can say, no, this will always be there, I guess. No, there is a data. What is it talking about? No. This is an object that has emojis. Okay, so it's not an array. I see. So this is either an obstacle or an array. I think we're getting there. Or it may be null. To say if no emoji and fail, then everything should work. Let's see. All right. Tally keeps talking to us as Tally from Mass Effect. A symbol watch might inspire thoughts of time and urgency. It could remind me of the importance of being efficient and timely in completing my mission. As a member of the Quarian race who are known for their technological prowess, the symbol could also remind me of the value of precision and the role that technology can play in achieving success. Overall, Watts could prompt me to focus on the task at hand and strive to complete it while working effectively with my team. This Tally, Mass Effect squadmate. Great, so we've managed to make this thing read from our database. By the way, we did do dark mode inside as well. Let me know which one you like best. Guess it depends. Now, we want to stop giving OpenAI money. So we'll want to save a response. We may want each pick to also have a chat, like a completion or something. Some character say something about it, but let's have like a small break. You know how it's going so far. So we created a new Supabase table for persistent picks. It doesn't have much, and we may amend it shortly. But I guess the big thing that we needed to amend was that the created at, instead of being a timestamp or timestamps table, we made it a date table, so we can do this and check more easily if we have a pick for this day. So this app will change the pick only once per day. And the next step for now, persist the most pick, we are reading this pick from DB, is to persist the ChatGPT comment in the database instead of doing the API call there. So if we don't have one, then we talk to ChatGPT, save it to the database, and from then on we only get it from the database. Hello Eduardo, and how to do that in general and people viewing. So once again, much like the database design and architecture question of Do we have like a daily picks table or just a picks table that can have an enum of whether it's a daily or monthly or whatever pick? The question is, do we just have like a quote and the character there, or do we have a characters table and then a comments table, and each character can comment differently for a specific pick? Who knows? What should we do today? Maybe there's comments or completions, what we quotes table, picks to quotes, don't really know. It feels like we should have a table for quotes for sure. Should we already have a characters table? Maybe not. So I'll put on maybe one last timer. Been going on for a bit. And see if in the last 25 minutes we can make it happen. We want to not pay any more money to OpenAI than we need to anymore. So let's create a quotes table. And again, the ID is going to be a unique ID. So I think that's the default. And it's don't forget, default value generate one for me. I shouldn't be providing this. Timestamp can actually be a timestamp with time zone. What should we have? It should be referring a pick once again. Or this time. So for a specific pick, and maybe not nullable. Maybe just to be fast for today, we can say that the content is a text field that must not be null, and the character name maybe we'll have a character table too, why not? So let's save this for now. Let's create another table, a characters table. And let's say that we have a name, text, and we have a title. Reference, nothing. Also text. And maybe have a series, franchise, whatever. You can have a franchise table as well if you really want to. And well, I've been told on my journey to becoming Prisma engineer a few years ago, at some point I think many people told me that in Postgres you shouldn't really try to optimize for varchar, that it doesn't work as well as it does for like MySQL, for example. So just don't bother and just use text for everything. If you're wondering why even for Unicode and the emoji characters, where I know that it's going to be a specific amount of length of this thing, why am I using like a text field? I've been told it's not worth it. So we are creating this character table. And let's create I forgot to do a thing. This should be unique ID, and this should be auto-generated, font size, not nullable, not nullable, not nullable, but not necessarily unique. Add all those things. Oof, do I need to drop this table? Yes, yes. It's okay, we'll do it again in fast forward mode. One more reason, Supabase team to default to this. Please, maybe get suggestion. So we said we wanted name, title, all gonna be text. They're all gonna be nullable. Non-nullable, I should say. And now I should be able to insert carousel from Mass Effect. So we've got this person here, and in our quotes table, now we can edit that one and make the association that we can reference a character ID. Never nullable. A quote should always belong to somebody that we have in the database. It's my thing in here. What? The snack notifications on the top right never disappear, it seems. It did do what I wanted to do, so fair enough. And now that we have all these tables, let's add our row level securities, because real users will not be able to read from there. Read for everyone. For this, read for everyone. For this, and again, our cron jobs are using the super admin access client, so they're able to write even though we don't have a row level security for that. And I guess what I want to do there seems to be a problem here. Does it not know at this point that it's never undefined? It should. what do we want to do here? We want to say when we do the picks to also create a code, I suppose. So this is where we'll be doing the OpenAI call. We can choose a random character as well. Off stream, I'm sure I'll be adding quite a few cool things. Let me know what you'd like to see next. But this method is getting super huge. I will get there. So at this point, we can create like the first quote for a particular pick, and maybe this can be random, the exact quote. In this, because now I want to use the code as well. Add the character later. So if we've made it up to here, what's the character? We ask this, and then the code is gonna be this, but we can get the person from the database as well. Let's have our fallback code. Let's steal it as well from here. Let's have one more select. Of course, he's the only one character who we have, who we know is Garus. Character stable. Let's run our code as well. This may help us. The result, error message. Do we have one? If not, our character result, you are this person from here, and I wonder in my client, service client, can I type this with a database? then maybe this knows a bit better what the character is. Yeah, great. So now it knows it has a created that font size, ID, name, title. Yeah, so we have this character name from this franchise. How would the emoji character inspiring? That's a bit confusing. Get the first response, and then we create a quote, which is gonna be this. Great. And then we want another insert to insert this code finally. Here. Insert quote result to the quotes table. And what does our quotes table actually look like? We'll have a random ID, we'll have a created that will be defined, we'll have a pick ID, which I guess is gonna be this. ID, great. Which is going to be the pick ID, yes. TypeScript is helping. And we'll also have a character ID. It's going to be this. It's going to have content. Created that I don't want. Content I do want. It's going to be this. Or the fallback. Alright, so this one's like, what if we don't have a character? Or no character data. We need the ID after all. Great, TypeScript is helping. For the lack of tests, at least we have TypeScript. That helps. So we're adding this. Great. And if we add this, then it probably means that in this page we no longer need to do all of this stuff. Directly calling OpenAI. What we want to do is in our database find from the quotes table the content. What do we have in that table? The content, and I guess, do you super nest this? Character name, title, font size. My phone is signing. Let's see if we'll manage to finish strong. Should it be, yeah, maybe it should be a different request actually. Let's forget this ever happened. We may use it at some point. Yeah, let's not do it like that for now. Let's keep it simple. Let's say that this is a pick result. But we also want the quote result. So again, this is the emoji result. And we'll also want a quote result. Something like this. So from quotes, the quotes table looks like this. Where pick ID should be this is the pick. We can use a pick ID here. And what we actually want to get from the quote is the content. And from the character table, finally, from the name, the title, and the front size of the character. And similarly, we can say something like can I limit this? Who knows? But for now, let's say that we return the quote. And on page and return content here. Leaving on. So this and this. So this will be the content. And now the question is, we have a character. So another svelte if. Derive this. This is undefined. It should never be undefined. Maybe don't use the classes. Why not? Right, I think we're getting there slowly. On the process. Right, what didn't we like? I think we didn't like that we haven't persisted a correct pick yet. So if we look at our database, we have all these picks, which we're going to delete. We have the one character, Garus, and we have no quotes. So hopefully when I hit this pick endpoint, it's gonna do a new good for us. But this doesn't exist. Pick result doesn't exist. It's getting there. This is the problem? Oh, what a factor. It's big stable. Come on. Should be pics. It's very naughty. I guess we can use this again. Let's select. Or do we? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. It's been going on for a while because I'm talking less. Hopefully the music is nice for you. But let's see if we'll manage to pick now. It's taken a while, so I think we're hitting OpenAI. So we must have created a pick. This may mean that if we hit this page, we should get something. Potent cat. Very appropriate for Garrus, so this is where we're gonna end it, I'm sure. Ask Garrus, I'm not sure I understand the context of this emoji. Is there any specific situation or information related to it that you can provide me with to better understand and answer your question? How can you understand pouting cat, Garrus? Come on, of all the people, maybe pouting cricket would be more appropriate, but I always found that Garrus looks more like a cat. So, you should be doing it. You should have a nicer comment on this. But if we refresh, so no matter how many times we refresh, we still get the same pick. So we only hit the OpenAI servers, the API, once. Every time, well, if the cron runs and there is no pick for the day, we hit the OpenAI for that day and we create this relation here. So, because if the point of this is to inspire you, then a day is enough maybe to make like a TikTok or a reel or whatever, a story, but or an app maybe. But if you want to make like a proper video film, if it's like a photography challenge like I've done in the past, then usually you have a theme every week or maybe even a theme every month. So I would think it'd be fun to have something that works and gives you picks for every week and for every month, despite every day. But it is a trending topic to use more of OpenAI, so we could even localize this to a different language. We can just pass it in, we can see how that works. But all of those are items for the next stream. So you'll have to let me know what you want to see. And we'll do it. My iPad is refusing to work as well, so the stream will never end. I'm sure it will work. And you can see I've been thinking because my hair has been quite gone all around the place. Oh well. I will switch to the face view and you can ask me any final questions you may have. I hope you've had a lovely Friday already and there is a nice weekend coming for you. think I will do a sneaky check, if you allow me, to see if we can have like a little guest as a treat to the end. So we're back, and I'll be checking for anything in the chat. Unfortunately, no new messages. I did want to show my lovely doggy that is in the microphone for the very first time as a treat. I do think people like that sort of thing. Oh, she looks huge on the camera. Wow. She looks as big as me. She's grown. How long has it been this stream? But unfortunately, since there is no more interaction in the chat, I think I'll call it a day. Thank you everyone for viewing, and especially everyone in the chat, especially OpenAI. I don't know if I've said this enough, but you've helped me a lot, and everyone participating in the chat, and everyone watching really. I like working out these sort of things with company, and whenever there are other ideas, other suggestions, it keeps me going. It makes time fly fast and makes me excited to keep working on it in the next week until the next episode. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments. We have a few suggestions here and there, but this will be it for this week. Have a lovely week, have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.